Mabuhay Excel Edge Realty Podcast listeners, and welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Lex,
And I'm Vera.
and we are so glad you could join us today. Instead of our usual market updates, we're going to be taking a deep dive into a topic that we think is especially relevant to aspiring Filipino real estate professionals, just like you guys.
Yeah, that's right. We're diving into the world of selling strategies in a buyer's market.
To give you a real edge, we are going to be pulling some wisdom from a fantastic article by Curbio. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
They're a company that specializes in pre-sale home improvements.
Oh, yeah. They really know what buyers are looking for, which is, super valuable in this type of market.
Okay, so first things first, let's break down what a buyer's market actually means for you as an agent and how you can not just survive, but really thrive in this environment.
Okay, so think of it like this. In a buyer's market, there are more homes for sale than there are buyers who are actively looking. This gives buyers a ton of choices and puts them in a really strong position when it comes to, things like negotiations.
So as agents, we need to step up our game and become really strategic advisors to our clients, right? It's not just about listing a property and then just waiting for the offers to roll in.
Yeah, exactly. You really need to understand your audience, the Filipino home buyers, and what they're really looking for in today's market.
That makes total sense.
Uh,
So who are these Filipino home buyers and what are their priorities? What are those key things that will make them say, this is the one?
well, we're seeing a lot of millennial and Gen Z buyers entering the market, and they really have this strong preference for move-in ready homes. And this isn't just about convenience, although that's definitely a factor. There's some cultural nuances at play here,
Why
too.
is that fascinating? Tell me more.
Okay, so in Filipino culture, there's this huge emphasis on family and community. Often, extended families live together or very close by. So for a lot of Filipino buyers, a move-in ready home means way less hassle and disruption for the whole family. They want a space where they can immediately create, a really welcoming environment for their loved ones.
That makes perfect sense.
Mm.
It's not just about the individual buyer, it's about the entire family unit. So how can we as agents tap into this understanding?
Well, when you're marketing a property, you really want to highlight those features that cater to this desire for a family-friendly, move-in ready space. Think open plan layouts for gatherings, spacious kitchens, for preparing those big Filipino feasts. And don't forget those outdoor areas for entertaining. You want to paint a picture of a home that's truly ready to embrace the warmth and the vibrancy of Filipino family life.
And I imagine that staging plays a really big role here too, right? Creating that visual appeal, that instant sense of welcome.
100%. And this is where the expertise of an accredited staging professional can be so valuable. They understand how to showcase a property's best features and create that emotional connection with buyers.
Now, for those who might not be familiar, can you explain what an accredited staging professional does and how they can specifically help in the Filipino market?
Sure, so accredited staging professionals are trained to enhance a property's visual appeal. They do things like decluttering, depersonalizing, and strategically arranging furniture and decor. And in the Filipino context, they can help create that warm and inviting atmosphere that resonates with buyers. Incorporating elements that reflect Filipino aesthetics and design sensibilities. It's about showcasing a home that feels both stylish and authentically Filipino.
So we've got our target audience in mind, and we're making the property visually appealing. But in a buyer's market, there's always competition, right?
Always. You need to know your competition inside and out. Imagine yourself as a detective scoping out all the rival listings.
So we're talking about going beyond just looking at the listing prices.
Yeah,
We need to really delve deeper into the details.
exactly. Analyze those comparable properties, the ones that have recently sold or are currently on the market. Pay attention to specific features that might have influenced their selling price, like location, lot size, number of bedrooms, and any recent upgrades. This will help you position your client's property effectively and justify its pricing.
And speaking of pricing, that could be a really sensitive topic, especially in a buyer's market. Sellers might have certain expectations that don't quite align with the current market reality.
Absolutely. And that's where your expertise as an agent really comes in. You need to educate your clients on the market dynamics and provide data-driven insights to support your pricing strategy.
So no more sugarcoating. We need to be honest and transparent, even if it means having those tough conversations.
Honesty and transparency are so crucial. But remember, you're not just delivering bad news, you're providing valuable guidance. Show your clients how a competitive price based on solid market data can actually lead to a faster sale and a more favorable outcome. It's about positioning them for success in a challenging market.
And this is where that deep understanding of the Filipino market comes into play again, right?
Yeah.
We can tailor our communication and our negotiation strategies to really resonate with their cultural values.
Exactly. For example, Filipinos place a high value on respect and relationships. When you're discussing pricing, approach the conversation with sensitivity and understanding. Highlight the benefits of a fair price, not just for the seller, but for the buyer too. Emphasize that you're working to achieve a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Now, speaking of making a property attractive to buyers, our source from Curbio mentions that a whopping 80% of Americans want move-in ready homes. I imagine that applies to the Filipino market as well.
It's a safe bet. And that brings us to the power of pre-listing upgrades.
So we're talking about going beyond just staging and actually making improvements to the property itself.
Yeah.
But I can already hear some sellers saying, wait, renovations, that's expensive and time-consuming.
I hear you. But remember, upgrades don't have to involve major overhauls. Sometimes even minor updates can make a huge difference.
Like, give me some examples.
Think about things like fresh paint, modern light fixtures, updated cabinet hardware, and maybe even some landscaping improvements. These seemingly small changes can make a property feel more contemporary and appealing to buyers.
And those are all things that sellers can potentially do themselves, right? Especially if they're on a tight budget.
Absolutely. And if they're not the DIY type, there are always cost-effective options available. You can help them find local contractors or handyman services to handle those smaller upgrades.
Now, before we move on, I want to emphasize something really important. This episode of The Deep Dive is specifically tailored for those of you looking to excel in the mid-price to high-ticket real estate market here in the Philippines.
That's right. If you're aiming to dominate this segment, Excel Edge Realty is here to support you every step of the way.
Visit our website at www.xhea.xage.com/FEO, not SCH, for valuable resources, market insights, and expert tips to help you succeed.
And don't forget to hit that follow button and share this podcast with anyone who can benefit from this knowledge. We'll be back soon with part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into these strategies.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive into excelling in a buyer's market.
You know, as we were discussing those strategies in part 1, it really struck me how crucial it is to really tailor our approach to the specific needs and desires of Filipino home buyers.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all market. Understanding those cultural nuances can really make a world of difference.
For instance, we talked about how family is so paramount in Filipino culture. How can we leverage this understanding when we're marketing properties?
It's all about emphasizing how a particular home can facilitate those strong family connections. For example, if a property has a spacious dining area, you might highlight how perfect it is for hosting those large family gatherings that are so integral to Filipino culture. Or if there's a separate living area, you could position it as a great space for the elders to relax while the younger generation is entertaining friends.
It's about painting a picture of a home that's not just beautiful, but also really functional for the way that Filipino families live.
Exactly.
Oh.
You want to appeal to those deep-seated cultural values.
Now, marketing in today's world is all about reaching the right audience in the right way. What are some specific marketing tactics that are particularly effective for reaching Filipino buyers?
Well, social media is a really powerful tool, especially platforms like Facebook and Instagram, which are incredibly popular in the Philippines. You can create targeted ads, share engaging content, and even host virtual tours to showcase your listings.
And I've noticed that video content tends to do really well, right?
Yeah.
Filipinos love to see things in action.
You're spot on. Consider creating short video tours that highlight the key features of a property and, most importantly, the feeling it evokes. You want to make those viewers feel like they're stepping into a home where they can immediately envision themselves and their loved ones, creating memories.
Now, beyond social media, are there any other marketing avenues that we should be exploring?
Well, word of mouth is still incredibly powerful, especially within the Filipino community. Networking with local organizations, attending community events, and building strong relationships with potential clients can go a long way.
It's all about building that trust, right? Filipinos are known for their loyalty. So once you've earned their trust, they're more likely to recommend you to their friends and family.
Exactly. It's about fostering those personal connections and demonstrating that you genuinely care about helping them find the right home.
Now let's circle back to something we touched on earlier, pre-listing upgrades. You mentioned that even minor updates can make a big difference in a buyer's market. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Of course. Remember, in a buyer's market, buyers have more options and are more likely to be discerning. They're looking for properties that are move-in ready and require minimal work. So even those small upgrades can give your clients a competitive edge.
Can you give us some specific examples of those high-impact but potentially budget-friendly upgrades?
Absolutely. Fresh paint is a game changer. It instantly brightens up a space and makes it feel more modern. And you don't have to go crazy with bold colors. Neutral tones like white cream or light gray appeal to a wider range of buyers and create a clean, airy feel. Simple, yet effective. What about kitchens and bathrooms? Those are often deal breakers for buyers.
You're right. In the kitchen, even something as simple as updating cabinet hardware can make a big impact. Replacing outdated knobs and pulls with more modern ones can give the cabinets a fresh new look without the cost of a full renovation. And in the bathroom, consider replacing the shower head and faucet with more contemporary fixtures.
Those are great tips. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a topic that can sometimes be a bit challenging: pricing strategies in a buyer's market.
It definitely requires a strategic approach.
How can we as agents help our sellers set realistic price expectations?
Data is your best friend. Provide your sellers with a comprehensive market analysis that shows recent sales of comparable properties in their area. This will help them understand what buyers are currently willing to pay.
And it's not just about looking at the final selling price, right? We also need to consider how long those properties were on the market. Exactly. If a comparable property sat on the market for months before selling at a discounted price, that's valuable information to share with your sellers. It helps to paint a realistic picture of the current market conditions.
Now, I imagine that some sellers might be hesitant to lower their asking price, especially if they have an emotional attachment to their home. How do we approach those sensitive conversations?
Empathy is key. Acknowledge their feelings and validate their concerns. Explain that you understand it can be difficult to adjust their expectations, but emphasize that a realistic price is crucial for attracting buyers and ultimately achieving a successful sale.
And it's not just about telling them what to do, right? We need to provide them with options and strategies.
Absolutely. For example, if a seller is adamant about not lowering their asking price, you could suggest offering incentives to buyers, such as covering closing costs or including appliances in the sale.
Those are great ideas. It adds value for the buyer without requiring the seller to budge on their asking price.
Exactly. It's about finding creative solutions that work for everyone involved.
Now, before we wrap up this segment, I want to reiterate something we mentioned in part one. This deep dive is specifically tailored for those of you looking to excel in the mid-price to high-ticket real estate market in the Philippines.
If you're ready to elevate your game and dominate this segment, Excel Edge Realty is here to support you every step of the way.
Visit our website at www.exceledge.com/PAH to discover valuable resources, connect with our team of experts, and unlock your full potential.
And don't forget to hit that follow button and share this podcast with anyone who can benefit from this knowledge.
We'll be back soon with the final part of our deep dive, where we'll tackle some common challenges and answer your questions about selling in a buyer's market. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into mastering the art of selling in a buyer's market.
Yeah, we've covered so much ground, from understanding the unique needs of Filipino home buyers to crafting those compelling marketing strategies and implementing those all-important pre-listing upgrades.
And of course, we tackled the sometimes tricky topic of pricing strategies.
Yeah, but we know you might still have some, lingering questions or maybe some specific challenges that you're facing in your day-to-day work as an agent.
So let's shift gears a little bit and address some of those common hurdles that real estate professionals often encounter in a buyer's market.
Sounds good. Let's dive right in.
All right, here's one that I know a lot of agents struggle with. What's the best approach when a seller is hesitant to lower their asking price, even though their property's been sitting on the market for a while?
Well, this is where those strong communication and negotiation skills that we talked about earlier really come into play. Remember, selling a home can be a very emotional experience for sellers. They might have a strong attachment to their property or have certain price expectations in mind.
So it's not just about presenting them with the cold, hard facts.
Yeah.
We need to approach the conversation with empathy and understanding.
Exactly. Acknowledge their feelings and validate their concerns. Instead of simply saying, you need to lower the price, try framing it as a strategic move to attract more buyers and generate greater interest in their property.
So we could say something like, I understand that you're hoping to get original asking price for your home, and I totally respect that. However, based on the current market conditions and recent sales of comparable properties, we're seeing that buyers in this price range are being very selective. By adjusting the price slightly, we can position your property more competitively and attract a wider pool of potential buyers.
That's a great approach. And remember, data is your ally. Provide them with a clear and concise market analysis that shows recent sales of similar properties in their area. This can help them see that a price adjustment isn't a reflection of their home's value, but rather a strategic move to align with current market realities.
And it's also helpful to highlight the potential downsides of waiting too long to adjust the price, right?
Absolutely. Explain that overpricing a property can lead to longer listing times, fewer showings, and ultimately a lower selling price in the long run.
Now, what about those sellers who are just overwhelmed by the idea of pre-listing upgrades? They might not have the time or the budget or the energy for major renovations. How do we advise them?
Well, remember, upgrades don't have to be extensive or expensive to make a difference. Sometimes even those small cosmetic improvements can significantly enhance a property's appeal.
Can you give us some examples of those high-impact, low-cost upgrades that we can suggest to our sellers?
Sure, one of the easiest and most effective upgrades is a fresh coat of paint. It can transform a space from, drab to fab in a matter of days. And as we mentioned before, neutral colors are generally a safe bet.
And what about those quick fixes in the kitchen and the bathroom?
In the kitchen, simply replacing outdated cabinet hardware with more modern knobs and pulls can give the cabinets a facelift without breaking the bank. And in the bathroom, consider swapping out the old shower head and faucet with more contemporary fixtures. These small changes can make a big difference in the overall feel of those key spaces.
Those are great tips. And for sellers who are really strapped for cash, we can always suggest some DIY projects, right?
Absolutely. There are tons of online resources and tutorials that can guide them through simple upgrades like painting, replacing light fixtures, or even sprucing up their landscaping.
Now let's address a question that I'm sure is on the minds of many agents out there. How do we stay positive and motivated when the market feels slow? It's easy to get discouraged when deals aren't closing as quickly as we'd like.
You're right. It's completely natural to feel that way. But remember, market fluctuations are just a part of the real estate cycle. A buyer's market might present challenges, but it also offers opportunities for growth.
What are some ways that we can reframe our thinking and stay motivated during these slower periods?
We'll focus on honing your skills. Use this time to take continuing education courses, attend industry events, and network with other professionals. Staying up to date on market trends and expanding your knowledge base will make you an even stronger agent when the market picks up again.
It's all about investing in ourselves and our businesses, even when things feel a bit slow.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this. Connect with other agents, share your experiences, and support each other. A strong network can provide invaluable insights and encouragement.
And it's important to celebrate those wins, no matter how big or small, right?
100%. Every closed deal, every satisfied client, every positive review, those are all accomplishments worth celebrating.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into navigating the buyer's market. We hope you found this journey insightful and empowering.
Remember, a buyer's market might require us to adjust our strategies. But by understanding those market dynamics, embracing those 6 key steps that we discussed, and focusing on those unique aspects of the Filipino market, you can thrive even in the most challenging environments.
And if you're ready to take your real estate career to the next level, particularly in that mid-price to high-ticket market here in the Philippines, Excel Edge Realty is here to guide you.
Visit our website at www.exceledge.com/EATHH to discover valuable resources, connect with our team of experts, and unlock your full potential.
And don't forget to hit that follow button and share this podcast with anyone who can benefit from this knowledge.
Palambel.